Hi, I apologize for uploading this video late. Last weekend, Cindy, Nino, and I and a couple of other family members, we went to this wrestling match, and Nino was yelling at the wrestler, so his throat got sore and he wasn't able to speak the next day. So we took a week off. So for this week, it's gonna be me recommending the movie, so I apologize if you're gonna miss Cindy and Nino. Oh, it was a little paper. I was like, what is that? So this week's video is going to be very special to me because my nieces Gabby and Kayla helped me choose a few of the movies, and so did my friend Beamy. She helped me choose one of the movies as well, so I'm really excited. So for October 22nd, I'm going to recommend the movie Saw. For Kayla, I heard that she does not like this movie, and I don't blame her. This movie's like really gruesome, well, depending on what part you see. But yeah, even it was a little too much for me, to be honest. And I've seen a lot of horror movies, so to say that it's a bit much for me has to say something. So I really don't blame Kayla for not liking or finishing the movie Saw, because it is gruesome, and like some of the death scenes are, oh my god, I don't remember which part it was because it was on like TV, but there was this guy, he like broke his arm, and oh my god, it was just I hate hearing or seeing people's arms break. Like I can see people like getting their throats cut or seeing like guts, but to see someone's arm break, oh, it's too much for me to be honest. And if you're not a fan of needles, I believe in the second Saw there's needles. I remember that. Well, I think there's like two scenes. No, one scene with needles, and then the other scene was like with razors. So if you're not really a fan of like needles, bones breaking, razors, I highly recommend that you don't watch this movie. But if you don't mind how gruesome the death scenes are, then I recommend you see Saw. Okay, so for October 23rd, I'm gonna recommend two versions of It. I forgot which one Kayla is scared of. I think it would be the remake, because I know the remake scared me. I saw the remake when it came out in theaters. Chapter 1, part 1 I saw in theaters. And I remember one scene scared the crap out of me. It made me scream. And it's rare for me to scream during movies. I was going to say which scene made me scream, but I don't want to spoil anything. So, but yeah, there was like one scene that made me scream, and it was really scary. And, but to be honest, the original It, played by Tim Curry, to be honest, it wasn't that scary. I mean, I could imagine like in the 90s, yeah, 1990, I bet everyone was like pooping themselves, because I guess back then like this movie was like really scary. But to be honest, it wasn't that scary for me personally. The remake, the first one, really freaked me out. It Chapter 2 sucked ass, to be honest. Like, it wasn't even that good. But yeah, out of like the remake and the original, I would say that the remake is like way more scary. Well, It Chapter 1 is way more scarier than the original and Chapter 2. Chapter 2 and the original wasn't that scary. But yeah, I can understand why Kayla was so scared of this movie too. So for October 24th, I'm going to recommend the movie Children of the Corn. I remember seeing this movie with my niece Gabby. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. There was like a jump scare that I remember scared me and Gabby. Towards the end, there was one scene that was really, really funny. I'm gonna see if I can find like a clip of it, and I'll put it in the description box. But I remember that part made me and Gabby laugh, and we just kept replaying it because it was one of the main characters, Isaac, I think his name was. He just screamed like a little girl, and it was just so funny because the scene was supposed to be serious, but the way he screamed and the effects of the movies, I think this movie came out like in the 80s. It says 1996 and 2011, but I don't think that's right. I think it came out in like 1980 something, to be honest. 1996? I feel like this didn't come out in 1996. But back then, like, I guess the special effects weren't as professional or wasn't as great as it is today. So like the effects and then the way the kid screamed, well not a kid but the guy, the way he screamed, it was just so funny that I couldn't take it seriously, to be honest, and even Gabby couldn't take it seriously either. But yeah, there are a couple of jump scares that do make you jump, which I like. Um but I guess like to younger viewers, I guess this movie would scare them. But if you're like older, then this movie isn't really gonna scare you. But I will always remember seeing this movie with my niece Gabby, and just that guy screaming, it was just hilarious. For October 25th, I'm going to recommend the movie Eight-Legged Freaks. I remember seeing this movie with Gabby when she was here with me, and I was recently talking to her about it, and she said that this movie is so creepy and that she doesn't like it because of the spiders, which I understand. Like, I hate spiders and centipedes, so I can imagine how this movie freaked her out. So in this movie, there's like huge spiders. I don't want to say too much because I'll end up spoiling it, but somehow the spiders get like humongous. And I just remember seeing this movie as a little girl. Let me see when it came out. 2002. So then I probably saw it like a couple years later, maybe when I was like 6 or something. So this movie has like a special place in my heart, and I'm so happy I was able to buy it. When I was a little girl, I remember just knowing like mostly all the words to this movie because I used to watch it a lot. And I was just so obsessed with this movie. This movie, some people may not like it, which I understand. But I think this movie is awesome. I love this movie. It'll always have a special place in my heart. And plus, like, this movie can be scary, especially if you hate spiders like me. So this movie could be scary, but it also could be funny because David Arquette, he makes this movie funny, and so do a couple of the other characters. So yeah, if you hate spiders, you're probably not gonna like it like Gabby did. She said this movie was like super creepy and it like creeped her out, and yeah. If you hate spiders, like you're gonna feel like spiders are crawling on you, you know? Like right now I feel like my hair tickled me in the back of my neck. So then that'll like get to you too. So for October 26th, I'm going to recommend the movie Scream, because obviously this movie, oh my god, this was the first horror movie I saw by myself. So of course, along with Eight-Legged Freaks, this movie has a special place in my heart because I love this movie so much. I know like all the words to it, especially like towards the end. Well, I won't get into it, but I know a lot of the words. I remember last year I had a sleepover with my niece Gabby and my little cousin that I'm not allowed to name. But we ended up having a sleepover, and it was Halloween. And every Halloween I have to see the movie Scream. That's like my thing. So I was like, okay guys, it's Halloween. Do you guys feel comfortable watching Scream? I'll let you know when, you know, the scary parts or whatever murders are gonna happen. So then they said yeah. So we were watching it, and I don't remember if it was before the movie ended, like towards the end of the movie, or we already had finished the movie. But I remember we went downstairs to like probably make popcorn or get a snack or something, and my niece and my cousin were a little shaken up. They were a little scared, and it was funny because I've never really seen them like that. So all of a sudden, I guess I was opening something, and then I heard them like kind of like scream and jump back, and it turns out that my uncle walked into the kitchen and scared both of them, and they were really scared, and that just made me laugh because for me this movie isn't scary necessarily, but I guess for those two young ladies it really freaked them out. So it was really funny to see them get scared because of my uncle. Oh, and I think it was like 2 weeks ago or a couple weeks, my little cousin ended up coming over, and usually like we both like we take turns choosing movies, and she surprised me because she has her own spot of movies down there, like with She's the Man and Idle Hands and all those movies. So that's like her spot right there, and this movie isn't in her spot. And usually I like close my eyes and then she hands me the movies. Well, usually like we'll choose like 3 movies each, and then we'll like close our eyes and then shuffle them, and whatever movie we have last in our hands is the movie we get to see. So when she told me to close my eyes, I said okay, I'm ready to shuffle whatever movie she chose. But she just handed me one, and it was this movie, and I was like, oh my god, I like, you know, it made me so happy because, oh my god, like, I wasn't expecting her to choose this movie out of, like, all the movies that I had. So, like, really made me happy, and I was so proud. And yeah, this movie is just the best. And it has, like, great music, great actors. Like, the cast is fantastic. And yeah, I can't really say anything bad about this movie. It's just really, really good. Oh, and there's also a new Scream. I don't know if it's technically number 5, like Scream 5, but I think it's just called Scream. So I'll leave like the link to the new Scream in the description box below too. I have a feeling I know who the killer is. I don't know if I'm gonna be right, so I can't wait to see it and figure out who the new killer is. But yeah, I'm like really excited for the new one. I remember seeing Scream 4 in the movie theaters with my cousin Cindy and my mom. I think that came out like in 2011. So that was like 10 years ago. So I'm like really excited to see the new one. And I can't wait to see this movie on Halloween night, like for like the 700th time. Okay, so for October 27th, I'm going to recommend the movie The Craft. Neve Campbell and also Skeet Ulrich, this guy who plays Billy in Scream. And Neve right there. So they're both in Scream and they're also in the movie The Craft. So I showed this movie to my niece Gabby, and I was surprised she really liked it because I was a little concerned that the movie wasn't going to be to her liking, but I'm really happy that she ended up liking it. We saw it in the living room downstairs. This movie, for me, isn't scary. Well, I guess like for a few people, like if you get scared easily, I guess there would be like a couple jump scares that would like make you flinch or whatever. But for me, I love the fashion, I love the music, the characters. You get to see like what each of them struggle with, and since it's in high school, you get to see some little drama in there too, which I really enjoyed. So this is like a well-rounded movie. For October the 28th, I'm going to recommend the movie The Others, which was chosen by my friend Mimi, so thank you. So she sent me a little description of what the movie is about. So it says, Grace, the devoutly religious mother of Anne and Nicholas, moves her family to the English coast during World War II. She awaits word on her missing husband while protecting her children from a rare photosensitive disease that causes the sun to harm them. Anne claims to see ghosts. Grace initially thinks the new servants are playing tricks, but chilling events and visions make her believe something supernatural has occurred. And she says a little copy and paste will do the trick, which that made me laugh. So for the movie The Others, her and I were talking about the twist at the end, which was really good. Which I love a good movie twist, to be honest. Like nowadays, like movies are so predictable. So for The Others to have a plot twist is like a breath of fresh air for me. So this movie did freak me out in a couple of parts, to be honest. For me, especially like the little jump scares, in my opinion, like they really like, you know, made me jump because it was so unexpected. And I'm surprised that it's not really not a lot of people talk about it. Like, you know, a lot of people talk about Scream or The Craft, which is not a problem, but I think sometimes during the month of October there needs to be other movies that are spoken about and other movies that get, you know, a little following as well, like The Others. And hopefully a lot of people that are watching this have seen The Others or are interested in seeing it, and I think it is a movie that everyone should see. For October 29th, I'm going to recommend the movie Dead Silence. When I first showed this movie to my little cousin, I remember we were in traffic somewhere and she just looked so bored and I felt so bad. But at the time, the only movie that I had was this one on my iPod. And I was like, oh my god, this is like a horror movie. Like, should I show her or should I just try to make a conversation with like this little 6-year-old? Like, I don't know what to do. So I told her, I said, would you like to see a movie? And she's like, okay. So I said, when I tell you to close your eyes, you close your eyes. Or like in my head, I was thinking maybe I should just move the phone like away so she doesn't see it, so nothing scary would scare her. And I remember I just showed her like the first like 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden the traffic started picking up, and then we were able to get home fast. But then I think like a couple weeks later she was talking about it. She was like, oh, when are we gonna finish this movie, the one with like the little puppet? And I was like, oh my god, like don't say anything, because my cousin Cindy was there. She looked at me and she was like, oh, you're showing her a scary movie, a little 6-year-old a scary movie? And I'm like, damn it. So yeah, like as she got older, you know, we already had seen the full thing. And then I think during the summer we saw this movie again, and this version that I ordered, I've never seen it before. So like I remember the movie that I have on my iPod, and the unrated version is a bit more disturbing, because there was one part, and oh, it was just so gross. It didn't creep me out. I just like, it was just so uncomfortable to see, and I was like, okay, that's nasty. And I remember like the little quote, it's like, beware the stare of Mary Shaw. She has no children, only dolls. And if you see her in your dreams, be sure you never ever scream, or she'll rip your tongue out at the seam. I think the last sentence. And this is like a really good movie. I'm surprised it's not popular. Like with the movie that I last recommended, The Others, like this movie isn't as popular, and I'm just so surprised because this movie is creepy, and it's directed by James Wan. So James Wan directed Dead Silence, The Conjuring, Insidious. Like those are really scary movies, so I'm surprised this movie doesn't have a huge following like The Conjuring and Insidious. Is Insidious popular? Because I feel like I hear more about The Conjuring than Insidious and Dead Silence. So Dead Silence and Insidious need more like cult following, because Insidious and Dead Silence are really scary movies. Sorry, I burped a little. But they're really scary movies, and I'm surprised not a lot of people are talking about them during the month of October. So I'm just really happy that I was able to show my little cousin this movie, and I'm really glad she still likes it after all these years too. Because usually, you know, when you're kids, you just see the movie once and then you just forget about it. But I'm like really happy that, you know, she still remembers it after all these years, and that she's still interested in seeing it. Okay, so for October 30th, I'm going to recommend the movie Dead End. This is another movie that not a lot of people talk about. I remember I saw this movie years ago, and I think I recommended it like a couple years ago too. But I just want to recommend it enough, you know, so that way like maybe a lot of people would be interested in seeing it. So this movie is called Dead End, and it has the actor Ray Wise. He was in the movie Jeepers Creepers 2, and also he was in RoboCop. This is Ray Wise. I remember seeing the movie Dead End like years ago with my cousin Cindy and Nino. And what stood out to me the most, and what I remembered the most after all these years of not seeing it, was the ending. The ending just blew my mind. Like, I don't know, I just love a good ending. So I ordered the movie, and I decided to show this movie to my little cousin. And I honestly forgot like what happens in between, but what I really remember was the ending. So I told her, I said, I apologize if there's like any nudity, which there is in this movie. There's nudity, so be careful with that. But the brother, if you can see him, he is just so freaking funny. Like in one scene in the movie, he was like, oh, what's that smell? And his mom's like, oh, it's like some pie. And he's like, oh, it smells like ass. And that part made me and my little cousin just laugh so hard. And then we repeated it a few times because it was just so funny. And then there's another quote that makes her laugh. It's like, I think the mom asked, oh, where are we? And then the dad says, we're on the road. Like, I bet the group of writers that wrote this movie are so sarcastic. But this movie is just so funny, but also really scary too. And that's what I enjoy. Like a movie that, you know, it has like some funny parts, but it is also able to get serious and very creepy. Plus, this movie, you can make a lot of different theories on what happens, or what you think happened, or what could happen. And I don't know, it's just a really interesting movie. I'm surprised that a lot of people are not talking about this. And I've seen this movie 3 times. So the first time was with my cousin Cindy and Nino. The second time was with my little cousin, and then we saw it a third time, which I was so happy that she chose this movie. But yeah, I just love it when she chooses movies that I don't expect, because it just makes me feel really proud and proud of myself and proud of her. Because proud of myself because, you know, I'm happy that I was able to show her a movie that she really enjoys and would love to see again. And then proud of her for choosing the movie because she just surprises me every time, to be honest, which I love. But yeah, this movie is a great movie to see for Halloween. And then you can also like spark up like conversations about like how it's just when you see the movie, you'll see what I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you're like, oh, how didn't I catch that part or this part? Or like, wow, that's like crazy that that could happen. But yeah, this movie is just filled with twists and turns that I love. And I love how I wasn't able to predict what was going to happen and what the ending was. Because I think I said it before that a lot of movies nowadays are just so predictable. So it's like really nice to have like a new movie with, well, this isn't a new movie, but for those of you who are gonna watch it for the first time, like it's a movie that has great ideas and is well executed in my opinion. But yeah, beware of nudity in this movie. I will list all the trailers to the movies and the parent guides. So the parent guides will let you guys know if there's any cursing, nudity, or drugs in the movie. So I will list all those links down below for you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'm sorry if you missed Cindy and Nino. Hopefully for the last video for October 31st, they'll be here. And I hope you guys enjoyed all the movies that I recommended. Thank you, Gabby and Kayla and Mimi, for helping me choose these movies. I'm like really happy that you guys helped me. And if you guys want, you can like the video, comment if you've seen any of these movies or which movies you would want to become more popular. Because I know, like, I said a few movies that I wish that were more popular. So I just want to hear your guys' thoughts. And please subscribe if you can. And I'll see you guys in the next video.